Okay, let's talk about Smash. I know most of the people that's probably watching this, they don't even play Smash. If you follow me on this channel, but I'm doing this because I am an ENTP and I like to theorize about things. And I figure what better way to learn this character than to theorize what I think. I have a friend that has been giving me some tips on how to improve, and I'm just thinking about like how I want to use this character overall, because that will inform like what I can do, right? So one thing I already kind of understand about this character is he has a really good neutral game, right? Meaning that his the tools that he has in order to get a hit safely without committing is pretty good, right? And what I'm starting to also notice about this character is that, like this is his best neutral tool, right? That you're going to want to use all the time. The reason why is because of how much distance this covers and the fact that it's safe, it auto cancels. Like, if you're doing it right, you can immediately uh shield from it almost immediately, and it has multiple different timings. Like you can fall with it and fast fall, or you can just not fast fall. You can rise, you can do it as a rising aerial, and it depends on like what your goal is, or you can do it as a falling aerial, right? Depends on what your goal is. um what I'm starting to understand about this character, he also has like down tilt in close range situations. And so like the biggest distinction between when you'd want to use this and this is that this is going to be like what you're doing, if you're in the center or if your opponent is right here. I honestly think it's probably best used right here, mostly because like if this is a safe move and it covers all of this distance, right? It could cover like up here and it can also cover down here. Your opponent basically when they're you limit you're basically like you shouldn't really be chasing with this, right? You should be using this to limit their space, and now they have to deal with this, right? Because now like what can they do? They can shield, they can try to throw needles, but if they throw needles, I'm super close, so I can punish them, right? It's like, so a lot of the way that you play this character is going to want to be on spacing, right? So in my opinion, you always want to make sure you have if you're trying to win neutral exchanges or neutral interactions or whatever, you're always going to want to make sure you have more space, because you just need your space to cover, right? To cover, like if they run in or if they jump or if they try to attack you, you just throwing out the hitbox to stay safe. Now, if you happen to get hit, then you know, then you just try again, right? Like you lost that interaction and you reset. Now, another thing about this move is that it seems extremely good for covering options like off of uh off of stage, right? So if because this covers so much distance, right? If the person chooses to normal get up, I think I have enough um let's see. I think I have enough time to do it if I'm not mistaken. I'm just doing it wrong. But anyways, if they try to do a normal get up, you can cover that. If they try to do a roll, you can cover that. If they try to jump, you can cover that, right? So it covers like all of these options. So you look at it as like, okay, opponent A has set amount of options. After you play them for a while, you're going to start to pick up on their habits and their tendencies. You might play against somebody who constantly tries to jump, or you might play against somebody who constantly tries to roll get up, or they don't mix up their options well, right? um, Eventually you will notice these patterns, you'll pick up on them, and then you'll be able to cover it. You can also react to a lot of this stuff as well. um, but yeah, so this is how I look at neutral air. I look at neutral air as a tool that you use to throw out, stay safe, keep them at a certain distance. Like to me, this is more so for controlling distance than it is necessarily for hitting. And then if it hits, then you get your combos off of it because it can combo into different things if you're doing it right or if they're at the right percentages, so on and so forth, right? So that's how I look at that. Now, let's say, for example, you're throwing this out and the person chooses to stay in that position. Well, then you can throw out gyro or you can like retreat and turn around and make sure that you're using your neutral B, right? So you have a lot of options. So basically, to me, like the way you play this character is centered around controlling space, right? So, and that could be any character to be honest. But with Rob, it's like I'm throwing out this nair because I'm covering this space. If you do not come into this space, I have this, so I'm covering the space that you're in. I can get my hits. Obviously, like in certain circumstances, like if you put Sheik, let's say you're at whoops. Let's say you're at mid percents, right? Why am I being so retarded? Let's say you're at 30%, right? Now, the way I look at this is so you obviously have Z dropping, right? You can Z drop. So which is basically like if you still wanted to fight with this, hypothetically, you could still fight with it as long as you're doing the input correctly, right? Let's turn them up a little bit more, 50%. Let's do like yeah, let's see. Okay, yeah. So I look at this as like, okay, so you have this gyro, right? And you got to think about, okay, what's the purpose of using the gyro? Because this is also used for neutral. And people think like, you can use it to control space. You can, but obviously people can throw it back at you, right? So I think this is good for covering certain options. Like if they're gonna roll in, right? Not rolling. If they're gonna like neutral get up, you can cover like the ledge right here with this if you throw it from this distance. And I memorized all the distances that you need to be at. So in this game, you need to be like right here for it to precisely go uh whoops, right here. So if you throw it from right here, you have the coverage that you need at the distance, right? How do I remember this? I use the ground as a cue, so I can see what you see where that blue line is right there, right? You can measure against that to know how far you should be, right? You can like move up right here. You can throw it from right there, right? If you don't want it to fall off, you can throw it from right there, right? So there's different visual cues that you can use, but I'm talking about like these blue lines right here, and every stage has them. Like every stage has some sort of visual cue to let you know how far you are from where you need to be at to throw this in order to get your desired outcome, right? So I look at this tool as because I look at this tool as controlling space, right? So like, yeah, motherfucker, try to run up on me. You can't because I have this big ass hitbox in your face. Obviously, this can get predictable. People can parry this. People can figure out ways to punish this or whatever, right? So that's why you kind of want to mix it up because like if I'm throwing this and then they're coming in, then I can do this or I can do this, right? But basically, like if I know that they're gonna predict that I'm going to do this from this range, then I might mix it up and throw out the gyro because now the gyro is not because now this is covering this range and this like range right in front of me, like right here, right? That's what the neutral is covering. But then I'm also covering right here, this space. So now they have to predict that and have play against that, right? So I can cover literally two spaces. Now obviously once you throw this out, you have to react to what happens because let's say they grab it, they can do the same, they can throw it back at you, right? So you have to know like what to do or whatever. So there's that. As far as neutral play with this with this tool. Um, Also, like if you have it, like I look at so neutral to me is different depending on certain circumstances because like this is good, right? But it hits them away pretty far. So like if certain circumstances, I might want to make sure that I'm getting um situations to kill my opponent. I mean, that's what I always want. So you have to ask yourself, well, what does my character have in order to put myself in a position to get a kill? And they have this gyro because if this person decides to, I can create tech situations with this. And that's why I look at it as like, okay, now at mid percents, I can rely on this more. Obviously if this person gets if they start to predict that, then you have to change it. But at mid percents, I look at this as a tool to get me into situations where I want kills, right? And obviously, your percentage will go up. That's the same way I'm kind of looking at fair too. If I'm not mistaken, I think fair also sends them into tech situations. Yeah. So like, if I'm playing and I'm doing this right, and somebody is trying to like move up closer to me with their uh their attack, then I might fair, right? I might fair because I know it can put me in a situation where I can get the hit, and I also know that fair is safe. And I'm only really doing that if I know that this person is attacking or jumping because I want to hit them, right? Like at this point, it's safe on hit because it has knockback. At other like lower percentages or whatever, it's not really safe on hit. So you gotta like be aware of that, right? um at least from my perspective, right? So let's see. And then there's like different timings with this too, right? Because you can use it on the platform, but you have to know like what is your purpose. Like I said, you the purpose of the platform use is to mix it up because the way that you do it to get on the platform, you're covering. Look, one sec, I fucked up. You're covering. Whoops. Come on, bro, get off. Oh my god, bro. Stop going on the platform. Let's see. How can I make? Yeah, there you go. So like, you're covering yourself. Like you're making yourself more safe, right? Because now they have to worry about not only attacking you, but they have to worry about like what happens if you go on the platform, right? Like they can't really punish you. I basically got high ground. So, you can use that as a mix up. Like you don't have to, but I'm just saying you can. You can use it as a mix up. So yeah, I look at that as like covering the space in front of me. Um, and if someone is passive and they're not really aggressive, then they give me the opportunity to keep pulling out my gyro. So I can throw my gyro or I can use my neutral B and I can, cover um certain distances. And the thing is that if somebody is passive, then how I would probably play is, walking up, taking space, throwing this out, and then limiting their options by cutting off the ring. Um, so that's to me. And then back air, this is like a kill tool. Like if you see like a opening to get a kill, you can do that, right? I think like in situations where you don't want to jump and you want to stay safe and neutral, I think that's where you can use down tilt, right? Like if let's say for example I did a down tilt right here. I mean I did a let's say I do a nair, right? And I miss, but I'm close enough. I don't want to jump again. There's more frames to doing that. So I don't have to jump again. I can do this and then keep myself safe. I can retreat. I could shield, right? Like, so basically, that's to me, that's what this is. This whole thing is for. It's not necessarily to be aggressive. It's not necessarily to chase, especially like the input itself. Now, if you're in the corner situation, sure, but that's not what it's necessarily for, and that's what I'm realizing. And it's not. It's just literally to have a hitbox out to control the space in front of you, and you have all these other tools that you can use to control the space in front of you. Right? That's how I look at Nier usage and his overall game plan.